Hola, me llamo José Cifuentes. Te invito a suscribirte a Aguante Fútbol.
Hey there! Welcome to another episode of LAFC 360. It still feels like we are living in a fantasy land, but guys, this is real life, okay? There's so much to talk about, but first, let me get started by introducing the rest of the panel. Here with me is Max Bretos.
Great to be here, Connor. Very comfortable in this chair, and what a great day to be talking LAFC.
Thank
Coming
you.
off a big win in Nashville. People don't go into Nashville and get wins like that.
Yeah, Jessica Black is joining us again. Welcome, Jessica.
I'm really happy to be here, obviously on the back of a win, so we have tons to talk about, obviously. Some new players that made their debuts, so yeah, happy to be here.
And Vince the Rosa, Vince the Rose himself.
It doesn't feel like real life because we didn't do a cold open. Also, I was literally out of my chair like 2 seconds ago, running around the studio trying to turn
There was a little audio.
No one
pickup.
needs to know about what happened just at
People
the
in
top
the
of
control
show.
room.
They want
Nobody
to know.
saw anything.
But they want to know.
People in control room had no idea what you were doing. They thought you were getting up right before the show, which is probably not.
They finally thought they pushed me over the edge. They're like, it's about time.
What it do, chat? What's up? Okay, don't judge the shirt. It looks great.
You do look good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Connor looks good. But you know what would look really good for us is if you went ahead and hit that subscribe button. Look, to our left, to my left is a chat screen. We've got a great community in there, so why don't you join everybody that's in that community? Lots of comments, a lot of fun, banter back and forth. So subscribe, and that way you'll know whenever a video comes out and you can hang out with these guys.
Yeah, and I just want to add something. You mentioned Connor's shirt, and I've seen it before somewhere. I've seen it before. Where exactly? Can someone help jog my memory here?
Did you wear that shirt?
No.
Are you genuinely asking, or is this like a...
No, I'm asking. There it is. Exactly. I knew I saw it somewhere.
Oh, hey.
A little less chest hair. The stash not quite there. But
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
do you know who that is, Connor?
Is that your dad?
That is Tom.
He wishes.
I wish it was my dad because we'd be driving around a Ferrari in Hawaii. That's Tom Selleck of Magnum PI. He wore the Hawaiian shirts like you're wearing one now.
You were playing the Magnum PI theme
That's
song.
wild.
Yes,
before
I was.
Before the show.
How do you tame your chest hair? Because I know you have
That's great. So I get a wax 2 times a week.
smart.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. It
Smart.
keeps it smooth.
Painful but smart.
Some baby oil, too. All right, enough with the pleasantries, La Rosa. Let's get to the story that had all eyes around the world looking at LAFC. On Sunday, it is time for #trending.
Hashtag trending.
Yes, I stole your bit, La Rosa.
Yeah, it's
We've
'cause you
been
need
talking
prompter.
about it for weeks, and it feels like it's been even longer. But the wait is finally over. Gareth Bale and Giorgio Chiellini have officially made their debuts for LAFC on Sunday. Let's take a listen to what they had to say at the end of the game.
I was itching from the first half to. I was itching. As soon as I got on the bench, I wanted to try and get off and help the team play some minutes. Important also for me individually that I kind of, get my fitness going. Obviously, it's the end of the season in Europe, so good to get some minutes. And more importantly, got the 3 points, and we're all happy. I want to come in and do what I do, but fit into the team style of play as well. I think. It's going to take a little bit of time to get used to everything, but I'm quite switched on in terms of football. So I'm able to get up to speed quite quick, and now it's just important to try and get some minutes, try and get fit as possible, as quick as possible, and just excited to get the season going for myself and trying to help the team as much as I can.
Yeah, I expected the difficulties we have in the match because Nashville is a good team, and also for me especially, is the first match after almost 2 months. It's too hot in Nashville, but I feel in better minute by minute, and in the second half I stay better than in the first. I'm very happy because it's a difficult away game, this one, and it's very important to win for us because we reach another time the top of the league, and I think it's important to stay in that position and continue to show us firstly that we can reach this trophy, and it's just the start. We have to continue to work. We have to continue to work each other, because if you do everything together. We don't are tired, but we feel the confidence and the happiness to play.
So like I said, it's actually happened on the official LAFC watch party that me and Vince were hosting just yesterday. It still feels surreal. Like, I don't know how more real it can get. They've made their debuts, and I still feel like it's a dream.
That's a good feeling.
When you
Soak it in.
When you pointed out on the broadcast that he was coming in, the bar like lifted.
Yeah.
It literally was just like an audible cheer. Connor got a little Gareth Bale chant going.
Oh yeah.
What I mean.
He got booed by the crowd there. I don't know why.
Really?
It was a mild. It wasn't a big boo. It was like boo. It was like.
Okay, because
that's fine.
I was thinking if you're a Nashville fan and they have a nice, fancy new stadium and it was pretty packed in there, even though your team lost, you still got to be there when Gareth Bale and Giorgio Chiellini made their debuts in MLS.
That's important. Nashville was part of the story, and they shouldn't be diminished by that at all. By the way, Soccer USA. I don't know who is Burt Bacharach. I don't know if that's you're referring to Vince here, not Vince, Connor, but I need to know more because I'm a big Burt Bacharach fan.
I will say your shirt compliments your eyes.
Maybe
really
I'm
well.
Burt Bacharach.
Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
Well, should we talk about how they actually played?
Yes.
Sure. Sorry.
Maybe.
I'll jump in here. You have to be happy about how everything turned out because incorporating new players, even players at this level, Giorgio Chiellini and Gareth Bale, who are elite. Most people would think you need to break them in, but you do. You heard them about the challenges of playing at MLS. And certainly replacing a center back shifting your back line is risky if you're a club. But they were able to do that. And then you're able to get Gareth Bale to help protect that lead. And you walk away with a win. That alone tells you this was a huge success because they get the 3 points on the road. And then if you look closer, you have to be pretty content about the way they played.
Yeah, I mean, the dynamic of the back line is going to be so interesting moving forward. We've been used to having two really, really fast center backs, whether it's Murray and Fall or Murray and Ibiaga. We've always had like the ability to play that high line. Chiellini comes in, he's not quite as fast as them, but you know, he's an elite level defender, so he has all that experience with him. And you saw that him and Murray at the beginning were trying to figure out who's going to drop, who's going to go, what side are we going to play on. And so there was a little bit shaky there, but as the game wore on, you saw that Chiellini got really comfortable and Murray started doing things that I've never seen him do before. I mean, he was stepping past people and running into the attack. And so, like you guys said, the levels definitely went up. And with Bale, you saw in that interview, he looked like somebody that's confident that he's going to take this league by storm. So for me, it's not going to be scary for us. It's going to be scary for them. I mean, this is exciting times for LAFC.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people looking from the outside in, especially when MLS and LAFC started pushing out that clip of Bale's first touch, which I lost my mind when he did that.
You did.
I really
on our
did.
broadcast.
But a lot of people were like, oh, why didn't he score a goal? Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? The fact that Bale and Chiellini just both made their debuts, that's one step in the right direction for them and for LAFC. So, look, maybe it wasn't the best showing for Gareth Bale, all things considered. Look, that's the first step in the right direction.
Well,
it's good. That's a success, guys.
This was highly targeted, and to both your points, especially about the back line, right? So Steve Trundle and his staff get together and go, okay, here are the matches coming up. How do these teams play? And really what we saw, the best of Giorgio Chiellini was his passing. Yeah. And they knew Nashville was a team, to your point about being quick in the back line. Nashville's a team that's going to sit back. It's going to allow Giorgio some time. They're not really going to try to run by him. And it's going to allow him to find that space. And his uptick on just finding the right passes and knowing exactly where the ball should come and go, that was another level for LAFC. Obviously, it creates the first goal. And so I think that was so smart. And then the same with Bale. Look, Bale came in there, and the weariness was this. It was only 2-1. So you were worried that as you throw in another player, another kind of luxury players, we would say, can Bale help them hold the lead? But he was switched
That's what he
on.
was brought into.
That's what he was switched.
He talked about it afterwards. He goes, help us protect this lead. I don't need a goal from you. I don't need you to stretch it out. We're playing safe, and that's what Gareth Bale did.
But at the same time, like when you're defending a lead, it's still important to have threat, right?
Sure.
You don't want to take off all your fours, and adding somebody like Bale instantly makes Nashville understand that, like, yeah, we need to be chasing this game, but we're not going to get much out of it because Gareth Bale is running us down. Yeah. One of the best things that I saw him do was just run around, and like Gareth Bale is a physical specimen. Like, this guy is not small. Like, he is 6 foot tall, like playing up front, and so I was looking at the Nashville defenders like, you're done. Like, you're done. What are you going to do from here?
That's such a good point. They had to respect him because it was Gareth Bale. Before he touched the ball once, they had to respect the man.
Well, Jess and I watching Gareth do his post game, we're getting excited when he was like, soccer, the soccer part comes very easy to me because both of us were like, oh man, this guy's
Confident.
stoked. He's ready to go. Like he was very humble and self-deprecating through a lot of it, but that one, you saw it. Like the tiger got out of the cage for just a half a second. I love it.
And he's excited too. He's not just confident in his ability to tear up the league. He wants to. He's itching to do it. But I will say for Bale and Chiellini, in more of a general note, this is just kind of an enhancement, right? We have really good center backs. But Chiellini, with that experience and just his positional awareness, his distribution from outside the back, I think is just such a level above any of the MLS defenders currently in the league where, it's actually raising the level of the league in general.
His passing helped start the first goal.
Yeah.
He came way up into the midfield and was able to lay that ball off. CJ Sapong went after him earlier and was getting the upper hand, and then it got better and better.
Well, he said he
Chiellini.
felt better in the second half. And look, as we said, LAFC has this luxury to be targeted in the games that they put Chiellini into. They're not just going to drop him into every game, although it was nice for him to get a little bit of the heat. I know he said it was too hot in here in Nashville, but it's kind of like, hey, check this out a little bit, see how you do. But let's not just talk about Chiellini and Bale, because that 3-point performance on the road was pretty strong, especially when you consider the way the first half ended. So what did we think about LAFC's overall performance on the road? 5th win on the road. I think only one other team has, or 2 other teams maybe have 6 wins on the road, but it's pretty good for 5 wins on the road, especially considering in 2021, I don't think, did we win a single road game?
It's time to get used to
No, we
this.
did. We got to win at Austin, and
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
That's a good one.
so there's
We
another
did.
team we played 3 times, and we got a road. I can't remember.
It was a typical LAFC performance. Kind of slow in the beginning, a little bit like what's going on here, and then lowering the hammer on Nashville in the second half. I mean, that's pretty much what LAFC is kind of known for. We're a second half team, and I think early on in the season there was a lot of conversation around like, is this a good thing or it's a bad thing? I think at this point we could just say that this is just who we are. Like we have a very deep bench and we utilize it, and in the second half we come out and we really wear teams down. So it was very typical in that way for me. I do think we were really comfortable in our shape. Nashville got some decent opportunities, I think mostly because Chiellini and Murray were trying to figure each other out. And then once they got comfortable, we seemed very solid. I would say then we talked about this, off air, that it did kind of seem like when we got into the final third, we didn't make the right decisions early on. We were getting into these advanced positions and the pass was off or the decision was off. And then eventually we broke through. So to me, it was a typical LAFC performance. We got the 3 points. It wasn't beautiful the whole way out, but ultimately our quality shone through.
And as Gerardo pointed out, Nashville's a quality opponent. This was a huge occasion for Nashville. They wanted to get a result. They're coming off a victory over the Sounders, who aren't the Sounders right now. It's still an important win. You got the best shot from Nashville. They had their full squad out there, and LAFC could let the lead go, but came out absolutely fired out of a can in that second half to
So
get the win.
this is something that as fans, we have to actually start getting used to it. Winning games week in, week out, right? So we've said it before, and I'll say it again, it's MLS Cup or bust. The league knows it, and I think there's also a very convincing argument that this team, on paper, may be the best team in MLS history.
Well, it's not just talent now too, because I want to touch on something that I think was really important from that game. Every once in a while, and LAFC has a lot of young players, where they'll make mistakes. But the mistake in this game, and you can call it a soft penalty or not, but the mistake in this game was from Ilie Sanchez, a guy that you normally wouldn't consider make that mistake. And young teams or teams that maybe don't have the right mentality, when their leader makes a mistake, they kind of crumble. But to Max's point, 45 seconds into the second half, they came right back out, took the lead right back. So it's not just pound for pound talent, it's the mentality now. And I think that's what LAFC was lacking in 2020, 2021. I think they've added that little bit of edge, and it really is the veterans. But it was nice to see that when one of those veterans that you don't expect to make a mistake makes one, the rest of the guys, the young guys, were then able to step in. If that keeps happening,
pick up the team.
Back and forth.
Well, I don't want to be that guy, but this is Ilie's second mistake that has led to a goal.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the
That's a high-risk position for that, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to...
Yeah.
high risk.
I'm not worried about it.
High leverage.
But it's worth
I don't know.
bringing
I just
up.
thought
But he
maybe
did a lot of
we
good
should point
things
it out.
in that game still. And what I liked about what happened with Ilie is a lot of players, especially young players, this is where the experience comes in. You make a big mistake like that, and then you tend to make more mistakes as the game goes on because you're trying to make it up or whatever. He was so solid from then on. And I don't know about you guys, but I didn't feel worried. I was annoyed that we had given up the penalty, but something told me like we were still gonna get through that game and probably get something out of it. And I think that's because we are so strong, like in terms of our depth and the mentality and things like that. So Ilie's individual mindset was really good, but the collective mindset was even better.
Yeah, it's the full package. It really is, and to the point where you're saying, well, I worry, but to your point, you don't worry now. You're like, I think we're going to get something out of it, but they're showing through it. It's not just us hoping and willing them to do it. They're actually doing it, and I think that's a big point.
Everyone in the chat room's got Ilie's back, Connor. Everyone's got Ilie's back.
I wasn't throwing him under the bus. I just thought it would
Weren't you planning on coming to training with us on Tuesday?
I thought it was
think you might want to
reasonable
rethink
to point out that is in fact true.
We can't sit here and just
First, and
kill them
you
with
guys are the
kindness.
same guys where any player else makes one mistake, sell him.
Well, let's
he's made it about he's attacking the fans in the chat room now.
Let's put a bow on this real quick. Actually, Max and I did a podcast after that Vancouver game, and I said I'd love to talk to Ilie about what happened. And Max goes, "Oh, I'd love to see it too." And I kind of jokingly said, "Actually, maybe I don't want to because players they're big and strong, and I'm scared of them." But I actually did see Ilie on the way out, and we had about a 5-10 minute conversation about that mistake. And he said, "You can ask me anything. I'll talk to you about anything." And it was very sincere. So, to Connor's point, and to all you guys defending Ilie in the
Connor,
chat,
part of our history.
Yeah. Always forever black and gold, Connor.
All right, you guys, let's move on from this because I'm sure just like Ilie wants to move on probably from that mistake.
Yes.
Let's move on from that part of the conversation. So, two players that actually had really good games, and have been pretty good over the last couple of weeks is Sifu and Chicho. They continue to have the end product that LAFC really needs, and for I don't know, like I can't say enough about these two players because they make mistakes, and we talk about their mistakes a lot, but ultimately they come with the goods. Goals and assists, winners, like they just do it for us. So are you guys kind of feeling like, okay, these are the guys that are really stepping up amongst other big names in there, Bale, Chiellini, Vela? These two are actually stepping up and they're really consistent. Is that something different than last season?
And that's why we talk about how good this roster is, not just on paper, but so you bring players like you said, Jessica, like Bale, Chiellini, you have the Velas, but then you have players like Sifu and Chicho who are not designated players, and we've talked about it. To be an MLS contender, MLS Cup contender, you need TAM players playing like DPs.
Yeah.
And those are two players who are playing like the two best players on LAFC right now with a stacked roster.
Yeah.
And to your point about consistency, I don't think it applies to Chicho, who had an incredible first season, but the consistency for Sifu is a 180-degree turn. Yeah. He gives you a pretty consistent run in every game, and he's getting goals or assists. He had the assists going back to the Dallas game, and he had the goals, obviously, against the Galaxy and the goal here, which ends up being the game winner. He's I'm so impressed with his progression because when he first got here, I remember he was at the stadium and he couldn't find a parking space and he was all flustered. And I go, this is a kid. He's a kid.
Yeah.
Coming from Ecuador.
Dealing with a pandemic.
Trying to find a parking
And I wonder, it's not going to last. So I'm stunned that he's put in the work to become one of LAFC's best players week in, week out. And Chicho has just been a very consistent goal scoring. That's a historic pace he's on. I think only Didier Drogba through 34 games had more goals.
Chicho, par for the course. This is the way he plays, right? 6 goals in his last 7 games, and this is what we kind of expect from him. Sifu, I thought 2021, 2022, he's gonna hit the ground running, keep going. Had a slow start to 2022, and I know a little bit was being with Ecuador, then coming in and not being quite up to the speed as everyone else was in preseason, so he had to kind of build into it. But now I think we're really seeing him actually bridge the 2 years together, and his trajectory now is the sky's the limit. And for all you people in the chat, and I know you guys were going at it earlier, talking about we need a central attacking midfielder. That's your guy. It's Sifu, guys. You don't need a DP central attacking midfielder because it's Sifu. And don't forget the extras of what Sifu gives you. He is one of the best when it comes to pressing in the attacking third. I don't think if you get a big, fancy DP number 10 that he's going to put in the work off the ball. And just think how many chances come due to Sifu's work rate. Sometimes it gasses him out, but this is your guy. This is your guy playing at on a TAM contract at a DP level. Don't.
What do you think about that comparison? I love it by PDDJR88. Reminds him a lot of Weston McKennie the way he plays.
A little bit.
Multi-tooled midfielder.
Yep. There's not a lot of midfielders that are really good defensively. They can do all the pressing because remember, Sifu also played some time in kind of like the pivot position last
he
last
did have
season.
to play some six last season.
He did, and so I think that might have helped him round his game a little bit more. But it's hard to find players that are box to box, that are physically imposing, that score goals, that do all those things. So that's what makes him so irreplaceable for me. He's our most important player for me because I just don't feel like there's anybody in the roster that can do anything like him. If you take him out, there's not somebody readily available to
That's a great point.
that everything that he does. And goals from midfield are so important because it makes you unpredictable. And I think that's what he brings, that unpredictability and that well-roundedness. So yeah, like McKinney is a good comparison for him, but yeah, Cifuentes is just going up a level. I remember when we went to Portland last season and we ended up losing the game. But he
that's
was
when he saw
Where he hit the
ghost.
ball.
Yeah.
Where he hit the ball like 50
Wide
yards
open
out.
net, and he saw a ghost and he was like,
exactly, and it was like
oh,
you
he
could-
did have that.
Was that the same game?
that
Different point.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was the crazy shot that it was like from 50 yards out, and you could just see that there was something there. Now, like you said, putting it all together, and this is my key guy. Like this, he's up there. He's one of those. He's really a special player.
I just want to say, if Sifu was like an American player, the entire league and the entire men's national team fan base would be drooling over him.
Because we don't produce players like that.
Yeah.
Multi-tooled midfielders that can do everything.
But all I'm
even
saying-
an aerial
all
threat
I'm
too.
saying is-
set pieces.
I think the closest is, I mean, maybe Brendan Aronson kind of plays in a
Yeah.
similar kind of frenetic style, but it's still a little bit different. I don't think
but
you
the
can
more
trust
technical
Brendan in
ability,
possession. Yeah.
Sifu's is.
So I'm assuming the rest of the league knows how good Sifu is at this point, but if they're not, they're sleeping on him.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Jessica. He may have been in the discussion for team MVP, which is crazy to think about, but he's been that good. We talked about the LAFC midfield. They are down a player. LAFC will be announcing this very soon. Nacional of Uruguay did announce it. Pancho Ginella on his way there on loan, and we'll see where it goes. But this is obviously a good spot. Remember, he came from Montevideo Wanderers, which is a smaller club in Uruguay. Nacional and Peñarol are the standard. And this is a club that's playing in international competitions, Copa Sudamericana, so he'll be involved in that. This has got to be pretty exciting for Pancho. Now, he still has hopes maybe coming back here and perhaps making the move to Europe. But if he gets playing time there, that's going to be a huge boost for him. And wearing that shirt this is a club steeped in history. The Nacional is actually credited with creating the supporter culture, the hinchas, which we kind of see in the LAFC 32-52. It all started with Nacional. It's just, it's a wonderful club. And I hope we do a road trip for Montevideo and maybe
I'd love to go to
we do it.
Uruguay.
But this is, it's a good news. But it also, on the LAFC side, it's one less midfielder. They don't have busy midfield.
Yeah, this is a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
So you send him on loan for a year, which means you can still get him back. And no matter what you think about Pancho Ginella's overall game, there's still a lot of talent there. And I think he has to play, though, right? Like, he needs to play somewhere. If it's not going to be at LAFC, they have to have him show out somewhere. And if he plays really well, to Max's point, he can come back here and then use this as another launching pad to Europe, or maybe he stays in Uruguay. But I think as a young player, he's serviceable and he can fit into certain teams. It just doesn't really seem, the pieces don't seem to fit with LAFC. But now I'm starting to think, like, as you say, Sifu is hard to replace because I think Latif is your most natural replacement, but Latif doesn't provide the goals and assists. Okay. Then you start to think, who's Ilie's backup? Oh, it's Kellen. Wait, who's Kellen's backup? Oh, it was Poncho. So to Max's
And Kellen
point,
might go to fullback in a pinch if required.
to Max's point, there's going to have to be somebody coming in. I know there's been a lot of talk about Adrian Fine. I don't know. Remember, he's like a reclamation project, so it's not like you can really count on a guy. I know he comes with a pedigree from Bayern, but
it's good that they're looking at people.
It means they're looking. It doesn't mean he's a for sure thing. So I think that they still need to look for another kind of box-to-boxy type. I mean, look,
Cover.
LAFC seems to love just all-around midfielders and then figuring out where they kind of plug in the holes.
And they will be looking for it, right?
They're always looking. That's the thing. Even when the transfer window's closed, Max and I will see John. We're like, must not be too busy, and we think we're so smart. And John's like, actually, I'm busier. We're doing more scouting. We're looking at more guys.
Yeah.
I have a lot more to do actually outside the window. The window is just when I get to fly around a little bit more and put ink on paper.
And just one last thing about that, this continues the tradition, going back to Pancho, of LAFC generally putting the players in good positions on their next club. And we've talked about it a lot with Walker Zimmerman, Mark Anthony Kaye, even though Mark Anthony Kaye's made another move, but it worked out initially.
For more big money.
For more big money. They're all making money. And
Bryce Duke
Diego
in Miami.
Rossi going to one. Bryce Duke. This applies. We will see. We'll have still time to see, but we will see.
Pancho seems excited about Nacional, so I think they've done right by him.
Max, we have some people in the chat for you.
Oh, boy. We knew it was a matter of time before we got a couple of
spam bots.
the spams.
Hey, as long as they subscribe.
It's just one. If you subscribe, you're allowed. Yeah, I see that, Chris. Come on, man. Pancho's our guy. Pancho's our guy.
Anyway, we all have that one friend that likes to play, DJ and thinks he's the life of the party. In reality, we all hate the music he plays and can't wait to rip the aux cord from them.
God, that's rude.
LAFC is no different, so check out who plays the worst music in the locker room in this week's Class of 22.
Para mí toda la música es buena, entonces decirte quién es la peor música no sabría decirte.
¿Te gusta todo?
Pues sí, igual lo ponemos nosotros.
Fall. Me parece que Seba. A Seba me parece que cuando pone música a Seba me parece que la banda se lo quiere sacar al parlante.
I don't know, someone played music the other day in the gym and it was like that mumbo jumbo rap that you can't understand. So like
Brian. Brian Rodríguez.
Brian.
Brian, well, what type of music does he play?
Oh man, I got no idea. I don't know what this song is about. Rayo McQueen. Brian es una música uruguaya que no entiendo a veces.
Muchos han dicho eso.
No, es imposible que ponga música a él.
The coaching staff, they always come and try to change our music, and it's pretty good. We have a great DJ, so no complaints about my teammates.
Everyone's been saying Brian, just so you know.
No, Brian is good. He's the one that I like, the DJ, so credit to them, to him.
La peor música, bueno, depende, porque yo pongo, generalmente soy yo, pero dicen que pongo música fea, porque no entiende.
Así muchos amigos.
Pero, no sé, Fall también pone música de Senegal y no me gusta, pero no sé.
So, following Sunday's win, LAFC have 20 games in the book, so it's time for some mid-season grades. We'll take a look at each positional group and assign them a grade. So let's start with goalkeeper.
I'm excited because everyone makes fun of my writing. I'll have to do one letter.
Yeah, this would be on the clear.
Okay. Goalkeeper
Don't make
first?
It too small.
Okay. We're gonna do like a 3.
Are we doing minuses and pluses?
Sure.
Okay.
You can even put
Wait,
0.5.
This might be too small.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna write it again.
Okay. What?
Oh.
Come on, Connor.
Okay.
It's one letter, Connor.
Yeah, come on, Connor.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh.
John McCarthy did make one game, and he played. By the way, he faced the 2 penalties LAFC played until last night.
Yeah.
That was the 3rd penalty.
Oh.
That's a lowercase b.
B.
Oh, why am I so high?
Wait, is it a lowercase b? Like, does that denote anything? Like, not quite.
I wasn't sure. I mean, I didn't want to give it a.
Okay, so Max and I are B's, B minus. Jess, you have an A minus.
Yeah, explain that.
Because I think y'all are forgetting about the goalkeeper woes that we had before. This is so good. Like, I know Crepeau has made some mistakes, but I think ultimately, like, his distribution and his quality back there has really shown. McCarthy, I thought the game that he played where he saved the penalties, like, come on, like, that was a blinder of a game. I know we didn't play well as a team, but, like, ultimately the depth in goalkeeper has been a lot better. Crepeau is good. Like, I don't know. I think we were so bad before, like, we're really good now. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can forgive the
I think that's fair.
I'm fine with all these. It's not the errors that are, for me, I think at this point, although Maxime had a very big save against Joveljic in the derby, I don't think anyone's made that huge save or stolen a game quite yet. So that's why I'm just going B. Like, they've been good.
He hasn't faced a lot of shots.
No.
I mean, that's we shouldn't
Because we're
punish
so good.
Crepeau against how good the defending
Right.
is. But I think he's been really good in grabbing crosses and corner kicks because they've been very busy with
That's
that.
to Jess's point about the horror show that we used to have a goalkeeper.
So it's a
That's
huge
been
upgrade.
important.
B to me, it's like, it's kind of hard to. We really should give great grades across the board here. And B is good. I think there's a little room for improvement. But Maxime Crepeau has been a huge upgrade. I feel comfortable with him there, and he's had a couple good games.
Yeah, I think B's fine.
Yeah.
Connor's the one with the B minus.
Gomez, on paper and stats, A. Without that, a solid B. So without stats, it's a B? I don't get that.
But he's making the point out of the defense has helped a lot because LAFC, I think he faced like He's faced 30 shots over a season. It's like making a save or two a game.
Right, and he's even talked about how that changes his game. It's difficult to get used to when you're being peppered to only one quality, big opportunity that you have to be there for.
Where the great goalkeepers emerge.
Yes.
I always think of Claudio Taffarel, Brazil, in 1994. He would face one shot every game, but he better save that.
Right.
Better save it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we shall move on to midfielders.
Oh, we're going to come back to defense, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Midfielders.
Ooh, midfield.
I like
It's a
it.
big group.
Yeah, it is.
This is tough.
Uh,
God.
Okay.
Look at us.
Oh!
Oh, Connor didn't get the message.
What's going on here, Connor?
Nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait, why did you initially have a B minus?
I just think there's enough room for improvement still. I think there's still a very high ceiling for the midfield, and in that being some additions to the squad. So I just think there needs to be more of an upside to
See,
that.
I kind of think
I'm switching mine to A minus. Sorry.
yeah, I kind of think that they actually have.
I
a
agree
rough
with. I looked at
start to
Ulysses.
the
I think you're
season
right.
In the way the midfield is picked up, especially with guys like Sifu, and I think Kellen, although doesn't have the stat line, has actually been very, very important to this midfield. Obviously, Ilya is an all-star. That's where I give him a B+.
Sifu's going to be an all-star. Sifu's going to be an all-star too.
You can always get better.
They needed a chance to gel. You know, I made the hot take earlier on in the season that I didn't think we'd miss a Tuesta. I stand by that. I don't think we have, because the midfield has changed so much. And yes, he's a quality player, but once they gelled, and like obviously Kellen was also playing a little bit of fullback earlier on in the season because we had so many injuries there.
Yep.
So once we got those three together, I think Ilya Sanchez has been underrated. I know he made a mistake, yesterday, but like beyond that, like the guy has been absolute mustard. Kellen Acosta has really grown into that role. It's one of those where statistically it doesn't show up, but he's so important to that midfield. And then Sifu has went up a level. It's a combative, hardworking midfield that's quite different than what we had before, but it's so good.
But that's why we have to judge this as mid-season ratings,
It's
right?
well-
This isn't
it's well balanced.
on last game's form, right? This is over the span of half a season.
And Latif has come in and done well too as like a rotational option. Like obviously he's a little bit limited in what he can do like on the ball, but his hurrying and his hard work has also been really good. So depth-wise, quality-wise, it's up there.
Yeah, the depth-wise, the only reason that you keep it down, but I even think about last season, we talk about the goalkeeping and how it's a massive upgrade. The midfield as well, where Chiqui Palacios was playing at the back end there. We had a revolving door. We had to bring Danny Crisostomo, but they brought in these guys, and they've all done a really nice job, with the exception of Sifu. Sifu just improved tremendously, but that trio makes this an A midfield. The lack of depth and options there drops it down a little bit where I had A minus B plus. I think that's the sweet spot.
Soccer USA, you're always in the chat, and I love you a lot, but you're wrong.
What do you say?
Danny Trejo makes up for Pancho.
No.
One, not a midfielder. Two.
Yeah, Danny
No.
Trejo is doing
That-
great things in USL, and I think he could be a serviceable MLS player, but I don't think he's good enough for this team. And
That's not an insult to anyone. This is a very hard team to crack.
And I'll add J. David Wallace talking about the midfield not driving the team forward. What if it's not their job? Think about the style of play, and to your point, you nailed it. The wings and center backs are providing that push. I think the midfield's job is to recycle play and win the ball back, and then get it immediately to the forwards. And Steve has talked about that. I want my team to be vertical. I want them to be quick. I want quick strike ability. Think more in that Liverpool model, who is coached by a German coach, which is where Steve came from. So I'm just saying, maybe don't dock them points for not being the main force in that.
And also, I know you guys don't like Pancho. Were you not here like 5 minutes ago when we said that he's on loan now? It's okay. It's okay. Now we're gonna move on.
Pancho's such a good dude. We're gonna miss him. He cracks
You know what?
jokes.
There could be an MLS team. I know people will talk about his salary and how much he makes. There could be an MLS team that $500K would be an absolute value for the way Pancho plays.
Oh, yeah.
It just does not fit because, like we said, this midfield's been so good in the balance, and Pancho just doesn't seem to balance the midfield the way the other three do.
All right, so now we're gonna move on to defenders.
Okay.
Ooh. It's tough.
Yeah, that's an added bonus. You get Giorgio
I know.
Chiellini, and
Just
look
in
at that
one last
group
game.
of 8
God.
strong.
Wow.
And we're talking to,
All right.
real quickly speaking to
3, 2,
Steve
1.
Cherundolo. A lot of those guys now can play fullback. He mentioned Ibiaga can play fullback.
Yeah.
He says Eddie Segura, so there's a versatile group.
All right, Jess, you're on the low end of the spectrum.
I'm looking at these grades, they're a little high. Okay,
Look at
so
Andres Franco give
Wait,
A++.
before you do your B-, can I let
Good
you
use
know
of the
that
lowercase b, Lolman.
we've only given up 22 goals this season, and that's third best in the league?
yes, I understand that. I
22.
get that. What I will say is that I do think that I look at the injuries to like Franco Escobar. I think that has annoyed me just a little bit. So I just docked it because like we were talking about our depth, and like for a while, Kellen Acosta was playing right back or something like that. I do think that like we still kind of struggle on some crosses sometimes, and then there's just little things like Mamadou Fall early on in the season. He wasn't doing it for me, so I still think there's a ways to go with the defense, especially now that we're playing more out of the back, and now we have Chiellini. He's going to be managing things and like doing his ball playing center back stuff. But it's just a little bit of stuff. Like some players are doing a lot better than others. Like Fall has kind of fallen down this season, where Palacios has come up. So I think when it all meshes together with the injuries and everything, it goes for a B- for me. But I'm harsh because I mean the defense is a big thing. So
Someone on this panel's got to be harsh.
I think it'll be better.
I just look at the rapid development when Chiqui is now an all-star. Ryan Hollingshead, despite scoring goals, actually had kind of a rough start, and now I'm looking at him and saying he could be almost. He does look like a forward. Hey, whatever works. He looks like he could be an all-star.
I voted for him for all-star.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ryan Hollingshead.
He's 5 goals in
I don't want to show
competition.
favoritism,
Why
but
not?
I get a vote, and I put Ryan Hollingshead because no one's touching his offensive stats there, and defensively good enough for me.
A majority of the guys have gone up. I think the only 2 guys we're still the jury is out is Mamadou Fall, who had a decent start to the season, then really tailed off, and then Franco Escobar, who because of injuries or whatever else hasn't been able to get it really going. But like if it's only 2 out of what we had 7 guys up there,
This is true.
and I still think that they can come good. Mamadou Fall still has plenty of time to come good.
May have been other guys from Mamadou stepping up that have won that spot, as opposed to Mamadou was on a development, and that still continues. He's a huge asset for the club. It's just going to be hard for him to get playing time with this group of defenders. That's a setback. I think the set piece defending is a concern. But when you have Chiqui Palacios an all-star, Ryan Hollingshead, you could argue, is an all-star. Jesus Murillo is much improved from last year. Giorgio Chiellini as well.
Who also deserves to be an all-star.
Yeah, he really does.
Shocked.
So this is a wonderful. It's not perfect, but I'm giving it.
I will say, a part of me wants MLS to just send LAFC to play the MLS All-Star game.
David Wallace, Ibiaga would not let fall on the pitch.
to.
I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah, Ibiaga.
So now we are going to move on to the final category, forwards.
Okay.
This is hard.
This is interesting.
This is hard. There's a lot of ways to go with this.
Oh, this is so hard. I feel, Oh, I'm gonna go with my gut.
Oh, this is a bad. Okay.
Freeze frames kill.
3, 2, 1.
With a heart? Is that?
That's for Bale.
Is that because we're going? Oh, I thought it's again because we were going to training and you were just afraid somebody might see this.
Might slap me.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Jess?
It's a plus. It was like it was close. It was close. Okay, yeah. So obviously we have some amazing players playing up front for us. I do think some have been better than others. I think it's starting to gel a lot more before. But early on in the season, I just felt like it was just taking a little bit longer for us to gear up. It's a B+ because I feel like with Bale coming in, we're actually going to go up a level, and then you'll see like, I think he's going to make a lot of people better. Vela will be better. Everybody will be better. So I think there's room to improve. But ultimately, like, the attack has been good. Like, it just has. Like, a B+ is good.
Well, I agree with you that, I mean, Chicho is playing at an A level right now, but at the beginning of the season, he wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
He's fixed some things. He has gotten into great shape, and that's how you grade him here. Carlos Vela coming on too, had that hat trick and then kind of lulled, but was playing all the time, which was good. But I think you can certainly feel like Carlos Vela, the best is yet to come. And then the Brian Rodriguez situation, we hasn't got him on track, which is and seeing how this is going to play, I think Jessica hit it on the nail. You got to grade this accordingly because it feels like it's going to get a lot better.
There was a period of time where Hollingshead was kind of carrying us offensively. Like, there was just like a small period of time where I thought, like, what's going on here? But yeah, it's gotten better.
The amount, look, we've gotten goal contributions for everywhere, so we're just grading the forwards.
There's a lot of teams with double-digit scores. We don't have one.
Yeah, and I gave them an A- because I felt like there's room for improvement, and I could have gone B+ too. I think in the games that we've lost, it's been when we haven't finished chances, and that kind of falls on your forwards. However, there has been games that we have that selective memory. They finished chances in some tough situations, in different ways, lightning quick. I'm thinking about the Galaxy game. I'm thinking about against FC Dallas. So I think that there's still room for improvement. A- B+ I think is fair. I mean, at the end of the day, when we have 40 goals for, which is second best in the league, your forwards contribute to that one way or the other, whether they're scoring or occupying defenders. They have to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And I just also want to say that the players that are depth pieces are also playing, I'd say, out of their normal ability, right?
We still lead the league in contributions from substitutes.
So you have players like Ismail Tajuri-Shradi, Mahala, Musovski, and Trejo, for that matter, who are all playing very, very good, all things considered. And look, they aren't the star players banging in goals week in, week out for us, but just to know that those options are on the bench week in, week out, that's why I get an edge. It's holistic.
I'm just happy that I'm at a point in my life where I don't get graded for anything anymore, because I don't think I would like the results.
Anyway,
what are you looking at? What are you?
I was looking
at too. He's leaning over doing weird stuff. What's going on here?
We love games here at 110 Football, and because there's 4 of us on the panel today, we have a very new game that we're going to try out. What's that game? It's tag team.
Oh yeah, dig it. Let me tell you something. No one knows about tag teaming more than me and Connor Kalopsis.
Oh yeah. So how this game works is one team will draw out of a box, and that team is Jessica and Vince, and we'll pick an argument that the other team will have to argue against.
What you draw, you're arguing for, and when the sound goes, you have to literally stop mid-sentence, and your partner has to pick it up.
And so we're going to start arguing, and you'll hear an air horn, and the other team.
Is that an air horn?
Hector.
I don't know what that
Hector
is.
Diaz. Come on, man.
Do we get it?
What's why?
Do we get it? Hey, also everyone watching, get in the chat, like that button. Let's get wild in here.
All right, are you?
So you guys are gonna start. Me and Max are.
Our team was born ready, so.
Yeah, I'm chilling. I know we're gonna be chilling.
we have like a slow get ready process.
Okay, I have one. I have a folded up piece of paper in my hand.
Get on with it, Vince.
It's gonna be ours. Okay.
So you just argue and then I.
Steve Trundolo has locked Coach of the Year.
Okay.
All right, let's start here. Easily, last season, we were dropping points left and right when it came to the end of games, and that has gone away. Tom Bogart tweeted that LAFC has dropped 0 points from winning situations. That alone, it seems like a coaching thing.
Yeah.
Right? So what?
Nothing.
We're going over our game plan.
Focus on your own.
We should have called this Family Feud because we're trying to get. This feels like Family Feud.
And during our grading portion, we talked about.
Okay.
Pick off exactly where I left off.
At the beginning of the season, we talked about how much we are a second half team, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that his substitutions have been pretty much flawless.
Dog water.
We've also seen that he's been able to maneuver in some really difficult situations. We've had a lot of injuries, and we've still been able to maintain
our composure and our ability to put teams under pressure, and we're winning points from difficult situations like being in Nashville when it might be too hot. Or like trying to integrate star players, which, by the way, isn't just plug and play. Sometimes it's a little hard. So Steve Trundolo has to get credit for that. And not to mention the fact that
we're literally the best team in the league, and it's not even close. I mean, a lot of people were trying to figure out what it was going to be like after Bob Bradley. Well, it's better.
We're done.
We're a lot more fluid. We played better football. We look very concise and like a good collective. And if he wasn't the best coach in the MLS, Chiellini and Bale wouldn't want to come.
Wow.
Okay.
You've played this game before, clearly.
Yep. So you guys now have to tell us why he's not.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
Let's go for it.
Okay. Well, Steve Trundolo is very worthy, and we're a big fan of him here, and he has a bright future as well in this
Disagreed.
field.
That's not the
but
point.
LAFC have a certain standard. I know, but I'm getting there. LAFC has a certain standard. There's only one guy who should get the vote. It's Josh.
It's Josh Wolf.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, he's turned an Austin team and an expansion team into a title contender. Look.
How lucky was it that no other coaches
No,
named
you're not
Josh?
allowed to jump in.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
You're not allowed to
Okay.
jump in. LAFC has set the standard as a super club, and year out, as they've been a franchise, they've been expected to be at the.
Yeah, we got to remember how bad Austin FC were last season.
Do you remember how
They were. I know, but LAFC had a lot in Austin.
And Austin
Feels like I'm
did
in a
not
quick
have
buzzer.
a good year. And in that, not only has Josh Wolf built a super club out of Austin, he's built a culture around the team and the supporters, making him a worthy contender for MLS Coach of the Year. And not to mention coaches like Nancy.
Jim Curtin also having a nice season. So let's look at the East a little bit. This is still open, but Josh Wolf is the right guy if he can keep the pace.
I feel like you guys were just arguing the wording because you're like, look, he's not a lock, but
No, you're not allowed to
We
argue.
gave up
the
a
wording of
proper
the question.
candidate.
I don't know.
We're-
I'm just
we're-
saying, you guys got very debate team.
We're-
You attacked the premise and
You guys felt like you were doing like a practice in a drama class too, the way you were doing it. So I mean, let's don't be throwing rocks over here.
But Max, when we do this, you have to like jump off right where
So
I left
you're
off.
telling me we lost.
That's what y'all were doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys are doing all right.
All right, go figure it out.
Okay,
was good.
so what we are arguing for is LAFC is so good, they don't need to use their last DP slot. It's true. LAFC is so good. I mean, we're best in the league by far. We've already added Bale and Chiellini as...
And when you've incorporated those guys, Connor, then where are you going to put a DP there? You already have a dilemma of getting everyone playing time. You are the best in the league right now, and you still have a high ceiling, as we've talked about in this show. So in reality, you don't need another DP. We are going MLS Cup or bust, and I don't actually think there's room for a DP right now. You don't need someone to disrupt the dynamic that Chicho, Bale, Vela. Yeah. We all got to muddy the waters. We have enough. We got enough where we got going right here. So let's be patient with the DP. We don't have to rush into it. That's the beautiful thing. You've already added a lot, and this addition's going to go carry a long way to the season. So we can be patient.
And our team is better.
Okay.
Oh, much better.
Okay, I'm
Massive
ready for
improvement.
this. This
You
is
ready?
gonna be so
Massive
Do you want to
improvement.
start it?
Yeah, I'll start it.
By the way, before we get started, Jess and I both have really cool boots on, and these teams got picked after we got here.
Yeah.
Clearly, it was because
Well,
we had
this is
cool
the
boots.
better dress side of
What?
the group.
Always.
What? The
Yeah,
better
I'm
dress
sorry.
side? Have you seen our shirts?
You guys, yeah. It's
I know, we
it's
did.
Not it. It's not
This is
it.
an actual outfit a tag team, wrestling tag team
I
would
know,
wear.
you guys, this is actually kind of cool. All right. All right, go for it, Jess.
Okay, so essentially we do need another DP. We talked about this earlier. If something happens to Cifuentes, what happens? If something happens to Elias Sanchez, what happens? If something happens to Acosta, what happens?
What happens is right. I'd be terrified. And think about it. Pride comes before the fall, everybody. And the window is
Give
open.
us some names.
The window's open for everyone. So you're going to think, okay, we don't need a DP while other teams can add DPs?
Other teams can add DPs, and we don't want people to get ahead of us. Remember, we are ahead, but not by so much, and we want to build a super team. This is LA. We need as many stars as possible. Like, let's not get it twisted. It's Hollywood.
And Hollywood
He's losing.
movies, and movies need stars, and that's why we need more stars. The more stars, the better.
Oh, that
Steve
was a
Cherundolo
nice pivot. That was
has
a nice
already
pivot.
proven that he can integrate a Gareth Bale and Giorgio Chiellini. What's another DP? He's figured it out with those two guys.
Hey,
They're
our
big,
buzzer,
big names.
Our buzzer's getting some heat.
Is a buzzer getting heat?
It's gonna be called fart sounds. So.
True.
No.
So yeah,
It-
basically you can't have too many stars on your team, you know, and LAFC
You
could
can't?
get deeper. They can get deeper, and I'm telling you guys, as soon as Cifuentes,
As soon as Cifuentes keeps scoring, someone's going to buy him, and you're going to need to replace not only him, but the DP. You don't want to be trying to get 2 stars at one time. It's difficult. You think that these Gareth Bales and Giorgio Chiellinis grow on trees? They don't, friend. You got to go out there and you got to scout them.
we win.
They don't.
Well, Gus thinks.
Gus says
No,
just
Gus-
advance both rounds.
I will say this: it was hard to argue because they made a point about we're going to probably lose some of these guys at some point. So why not get the replacement?
This is not when you start agreeing with them.
I know, but I just thought
This isn't a.
everyone's
gets a
agreeing.
participation
Everyone's agreeing with them.
That was a fun game. It was nice to have 4 people
Well,
on.
it's fun
to-
for you.
to
You
do
guys.
It was, yeah, it
you
was
guys
fun
won.
for you guys.
Yeah, well.
Oh, the Mega Powers won round 1. That's us.
Oh, is that Mega Powers?
Yeah, the
Let's
Mega.
go.
That's Hulk Hogan and Macho
Oh, we
Man.
have one
Oh, I like
Back in the day.
LOL Man, the better dressed Group 1.
That's us too.
Yeah,
obviously.
we did.
All right, cool.
Oh,
No
we
one
got
likes us.
we've got a tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker. Okay, 1-1. And in the chat, you guys, after we finish this round, you tell us who won.
Team Boots win. That's a Vince vote.
All right, Carlos Vela is LAFC's first half MVP.
Okay. All right. Feel like we're up against it a little bit on that one.
Yeah.
Don't stall. Get
I
into
don't
it,
like
guys.
arguing against things.
What? I thought you guys were good at this game.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, look at this.
look, the gravity of Carlos Vela on the pitch alone.
This is Carlos Vela's team. Obviously, when he plays well, we play well. He has like 6 goals and 4 assists or something, some nonsense like that. And people haven't even thought he's played well this season. That's a really good return for somebody who has been injured a lot of times as well. So this is his team, and
Obviously, he's trying, and he wants to score more goals, but guess what? He doesn't have to because he has a supporting cast around him. And Carlos is smart enough to know that football is a game with 11 players, and he's taken the step back.
He's taken the step back and switched his position, which is very difficult to do, is to become more of a facilitator than a scorer, and he still has excellent numbers. So it's all about Vela. It's all about Vela. That's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it now? Oh, is that the end of your argument?
Ask yourself this. Ask
long.
yourself this. If you remove Vela from this team, are we in first place?
100%.
Oh.
Okay, go for it.
I'll tell you why.
This shows us.
You know,
getting
I
us
like
in
2
trouble.
players. C names are great. Connor, Sifu, Chicho. There's absolutely no way that Vela has been this first half of the year's MVP above Chicho.
Chicho Arango has certainly taken the mantle of that with what he's been able to do scoring-wise. Game-winning goal here, and then if it's not him, José Cifuentes with the game-winning goal, consistently good.
Consistently good, and that's
Because what?
don't
Gold.
do
Consistently
that.
gold. That would have been good, but you didn't say that.
Goals and assists, might I add. And look, these are players who aren't DPs, who isn't your captain.
You guys are naming 10 players to make up for the 1 MVP, though. Who's your
What
MVP?
one
then?
MVP?
I don't know. I'm just saying you're naming a bunch of names.
I'm saying that there's actually multiple options above Carlos for first season.
There's
it's
so
not
many options
multiple.
above.
It's not
There's
multiple.
so many options above Carlos where
So
your
many?
argument is obsolete.
What about Ilie Sanchez? You know, he's come in and he's locked down a position of need, and it's a very important one. And we got to look at him as a guy that certainly, Jesus Murillo, he's been an everyday defender and he's eliminated the mistakes. There's a lot of good MVP options. It's a
Cheeky
team.
Palacios.
And Carlos
probably,
should share it a little bit, right? He's always the
Wait,
MVP.
you guys
Let
are-
someone else have a go.
Cheeky
Hold on.
Palacios.
Just buzzer them out. Get them out of
What's
here.
happening?
Talking about there's tons of
I
options.
was actually going to
Palacios.
compliment Max for how smoothly he buzzed into the Ilie Sanchez until you stepped on his point.
Then you stepped in on it, and then the buzzer went like 4 times.
Well, I'm just saying, you guys named a bunch of names. Who did you not name on the roster?
Yeah, that goes for our point.
Okay.
All right.
So this is where you guys get involved. You've been fantastic. We've been following your comments, but if you have some questions you would like to be answered, put them in now. This is where you could be a bigger part of the show. You already are. We love you guys, and you guys certainly lift us and get these conversations going. So any other questions about what's happening in LAFC, now's the time to ask. There's a lot there. There's a lot of meat on this bone.
I'm totally down.
People want to
for
talk
us-
about my Bob Ross shirt. Yes, these are happy little clouds and trees. It is a Bob Ross original. Bob Ross?
Okay.
I like
That's
our
what someone's,
team.
was it Gomez? Yes.
Yeah, I like our team being called Team Boots.
Team Boots.
That works for me. Also, is it sounding like Shannon and Skip? Is that a compliment or?
No, I think that's because me and Max were rambling.
No.
Well, me specifically.
Yeah, the whole thing.
That wasn't a Max thing.
We have a very successful
okay, here we
show.
go. We got a question. Should Bale be starting against KC?
Good question.
This is a good question. He got 18
minutes.
18 minutes. He definitely looked like he was cruising around a little bit. I do think there's no substitute though for those 18 minutes. Like 18 minutes of actual game time is at least worth like a training session, right? If he gets a full week of training, like fingers crossed that he came out of this totally unscathed and can go for the whole week of training, I think you can feel like you can start him because he's the type of player that can play 60 minutes smartly.
Danny Masowski didn't make that trip, so it's Mahala. So, I mean,
Brian wasn't on the trip either.
Brian wasn't on the trip, so the options there aren't as ubiquitous as you would like. So there's an opportunity here to get him in that game, and then you have the Seattle game. This seems like a good spot against a team that's been struggling. I don't think he starts, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
But I don't think there's a need for him to start. Genuinely.
They got to. He needs to get minutes. He needs to start getting
minutes. He
minutes.
needs minutes to build his fitness, and kind of to Max's
for
point,
World Cup.
I actually was gonna flip flop and say I think that you wait till you come home and you start him against Seattle at home because it's a nice story, gives him a good feeling, start at home. But I actually would rather him start against SKC because they are struggling. What if he puts in 2 goals against SKC? Then he's feeling really good playing against Seattle.
The fact that Chiellini started so quickly tells you that they won't be hesitant to start Bale.
I think you want to get Bale going like as quickly as possible, especially because we want to try to figure out what the best combination of forwards actually is. So Yeah, I would imagine that Bale's, 45 minutes for Bale, like against SKC for me would be what I do. And then maybe take him out after that, get 45 minutes in his boots. But, you want to get him going. Like, this is the point. And he's a professional. Like, he's going to want to play. So,
And
he's a grown-up too.
He said himself, in terms of football, he's locked in.
Yep.
Ubiquitous thickety means it's everywhere. It's like copper in Chile or alligators in the Everglades.
Our
Ubiquitous.
producer said we had one more question to answer, and you want to give the definition of ubiquitous?
I want to ask. Can I ask the question someone asked? Can Chicho win the Golden Boot? I thought that's an interesting one.
Absolutely, but Chicho is very streaky, so I worry that when this vein of form wears off, how many games will he go between not scoring? And if he does in fact go a couple games without scoring, is he going to be able to get back in the lineup? Because at that point, does that mean Gareth Bale has supplanted you at the number 9? So that's interesting.
There's a lot of guys he has to catch. Although one's leaving. Tati Castellanos reports that he's heading to Spanish football. So.
I have a question for you guys since I don't see any more in the chat. This might be too early to call, but I want the early calls now. And when everybody's fit, who is your front three?
I go Vela, Bale, Brian.
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy for Chicho Arango. I think there's going to be a lot of rotation, but I think that is with Bale having to play minutes as part of the deal here because he's getting ready for the World Cup. He's going to get in there. Vela's Carlos Vela, and Brian Rodriguez does something no one else can.
For me, it's a personal preference. I like the way you balance teams. I mean, some people would say put the most talented guys in there, put the most deadly guys in there, which would be Chicho would be in there. But I think for balance's sake, you have to have Brian because he's a winger in the sense that he progresses the ball forward. He can carry it for long distances. Carlos and Bale don't do that quite as much, and they're also not quite as adept at running behind. I think they can, but I think Brian just gives you that added dimension. And for me, the balance is there. I could be wrong, but that's where I would go with the 3.
Connor, did you give yours?
I think I'm going to... And it's all dependent on Chicho's form. If he's able to stay in form over the span of, let's say, the next 10 games, and if he isn't as streaky as he has been throughout the time he's been here this season specifically, then I'll have to give the nod to Chicho. But it's all dependent on these next 10 games.
Right. Bale, Chicho, and Vela would be tough because you don't have the vertical threat. If it can work, great, but I think you compromise the way LAFC plays a little bit.
Yeah, it's a difference in balance.
It's a great trio. It's the best trio.
3 supremely talented players.
Is it the sum of the parts?
Can I just say how unbelievable it is that we are even having this conversation? How we are sitting here finding it hard
unbelievable
to decide what our best front 3 is because the players are of such a quality that we don't want to have anyone miss out.
Yeah. These are Man City, Liverpool type problems.
And Man City resolved that, and Liverpool resolved it, and different guys get games. So I think we can expect that. Especially Gareth Bale, he may not be able to play all these games.
Yeah.
So
Chicho won't start in MLS, but he's going to bang in like 40 goals in the Open Cup next year.
And one of the underrated qualities of Pep, although sometimes it's held against him, is his ability to find that balance and keep players happy. Sometimes he tinkers a little bit too much, but I think Steve's going to have to really kind of find his way, keeping guys happy and balancing it, because there is going to be instances where guys injured, guys just not on form. I think he'll find the right formula. But thank you guys, as always, for your questions. The chat, I'm going to say, has been on fire today.
Really good.
But it is time.
You guys bring it. We like that.
Yeah, we're getting into that time of the show. It's stoppage time. It's our chance to rant about anything that's top of mind for us. The voice of LAFC, Max Bretos, is up first with stoppage time.
Watching this game in Nashville was a breath of fresh air. It really was. When we get used to high-profile players coming into Major League Soccer, it's in this shroud of mystery. David Beckham came. It took weeks before we got him to play. Once in a while, you'd see him do an interview. Same kind of situation with Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard, Andrea Pirlo. Zlatan to a lesser degree because he did have a great start, but the rollout was slow. And then we have Gareth Bale and Giorgio Chiellini. They get off a plane. They get straight to training, they take in their first game, and within less than 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, they're both playing in the game, and they'll play more minutes. The perception of how these big star players come to Major League Soccer has changed drastically, and these two, in my estimation, have done more than any to help change that. How many times would you see, after their first game, Giorgio Chiellini and Gareth Bale address the media in that way, where they were so honest? We always hear about these things about the league. Yeah, it's hot in the South in the summertime. The altitude in Salt Lake in Colorado, the travel. Well, they had to deal with it, and they were open about it. They said, yeah, Nashville's hot. You saw Giorgio Chiellini, he was dripping with sweat. He said this was an issue. So he put it out there. And I found that refreshing because you know why? I've never heard it before. I've never heard someone really say it. So they've opened up, and I absolutely adore it, and I could hear them talk. They're not going to talk to the media every time like this, but first time, I thought they knocked it out of the park.
Do you think this is the first step of the chapter MLS 3.0?
Maybe. Like, if you want to be these high-profile players, you got to be ready to hit the ground running, because these two guys did.
Are we only on 3.0? I thought we're at like 4.5 now or something like that.
Yeah.
What's Apple's operating system at now? It's like 15.2 or something. Maybe we're around there.
My stoppage time is Cifuentes. New number, playing of an MVP quality, and I know he's now a fan favorite. I love him, but guys, do not get too attached to Cifuentes. If he's playing at this level for a little bit longer, he will be out the door just in the blink of an eye. Same thing happened with Atuesta, and look, as an LAFC fan, you have to be ready for these young guys coming from different parts of the globe, and this is the ideology that LAFC has been. This is their DNA. Develop players and sell them eventually. And so look, when our best players are playing like they are now, Cifuentes included, he's going to be gone pretty soon. So
I don't like what you just said at all.
What a bummer.
I mean, I don't like it. I'm just
we gotta
saying it as
we
I
gotta
see
have
it.
our Sifu fan club shirts because we're both
Yeah.
on board firmly on the bandwagon.
Which is sad because you love him, but let's hope that not only do we end up selling him, but then he just tears it up somewhere in Europe, and then LAFC is on the map for really being the club that found him.
I'm gonna hope for a lifetime contract for Cifuentes. That's what
A lifetime contract.
Lifetime. That may be a bit of a. That might be a reach.
Well, you know what? It does make me sad that will eventually happen, but two things. John Thornton has said from day one that this will always be the way in which LAFC moves players. They want young players, and they want to help them get to the next stage. And two, as a person that loves kits, just gives me a chance and a reason to buy another kit because I'll buy a Sifu kit and wherever it goes.
By the way, Gerardo Rios said, let's get to 50 likes. I just chimed in on the chat room and got the 50.
Oh, great.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Let's get to 60. Thanks for the support, Gerardo.
All right, my stoppage time deals with the fact that we are top of the Supporter Shield standings, and I really think that it's without playing our best game yet. LAFC, I still think, has the chance to hit new heights, and really this year it's been all about the floor being raised. The team does not beat themselves. They are not giving up huge chances. They're not making the mistakes that they used to make. They're getting timely goals. Obviously, they have the talent, even with the floor raised and the ceiling not quite as high. They have the talent to do that. But I'm still waiting for that one match where it's like 90 minutes of nonstop and that ceiling, and we get to see that moment where we say no team in this league is beating LAFC if they play at this level. I think against FC Dallas we got close, but there was about a 10 to 15 minute bobble there. So I'm still waiting for that. And I think more so what it says to the rest of MLS is you should be terrified because Gareth Bale and Giorgio Chiellini have joined a team that still has not figured out what their top gear is. And it's going to come soon. Hopefully it comes closer to playoff time or in playoff time because that would mean MLS Cup.
All right, so
Sorry,
I was like, why are you looking at
laughing
Max right now?
I was laughing at
No,
the comments.
But yeah, my stoppage time is actually about Chicho. Chicho deserves our respect. Put some respect on his name. I do think that I've been quite harsh on Chicho over the last couple of months or so. Like, I just didn't feel like he was playing at the top of his game last season. We were just loving everything that he brought. He was carrying the team. Like, let's be real. And during a very difficult time, and he kind of fell off and now has come back into it. 8 goals and 1 assist. He's the guy that we rely upon to get the goals in the back of the net. And sometimes it's not pretty, but that's what a goal scorer does. It doesn't matter what it looks like. As long as it's in the back of the net, that's all we care about. But what I will say is, even though we need to give him more respect, we don't need to quite panic. I'm seeing quite a bit of panic on Twitter, in particular around Chicho Arango and whether or not he's going to be an LAFC player and if LAFC are shopping him around. There's been no confirmed reports of that. But what we do know is that LAFC are trying to build a very strong team. We need to get used to the idea that some guys are just going to have to fight for their position. If Vela is playing false 9, then Chicho Arango can play in and be more of a centerpiece and more of a pivot. There's different ways of playing. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and I don't think we need to be panicking just because we have somebody that's firing on all cylinders, but we know the likes of Gareth Bale are coming into this side. We know Carlos Vela just signed a new contract. Let's just relax. Nothing has been confirmed. no need to panic. Let's just enjoy the fact that Chicho is playing at such a high level right now, and he's really making a play for that position, and it's going to be hard for somebody to take his spot. So I've been kind of on Chicho for a while, but he's really impressed me over the last couple of games, and I just think we need to respect him.
The point of playing on this team, you have to fight for your position. Ryan Hollingshead talked about that, and he embraced it. I think all these guys are. You're not just getting a spot. You have to play it. Maybe it applies to Carlos Vela at some point. You've got to.
But I don't want to be that guy, but if you are considering letting someone go, do you do it when they're playing at their best?
It's not, but it's not, the wording is wrong there. We're not letting him go. If a team comes in with
Someone
an
with a huge offer?
evaluation that's huge, you have to sell. Like, there's only a couple teams in the world that say absolutely certain players are not for sale at any price. LAFC, unfortunately, is not in that tax bracket.
That was the Nashville thing with Walker Zimmerman. They came in with a 1 million plus record number allocation money that you're like, we can't turn this down. We're going to use this, which they did.
Anyway, again, thank you guys for joining us so much. If you like podcasts, you can listen to this show and Angels Wear Boots on any podcast platform of your choice. Just search 110 Football. And we have a very busy week here at 110 Football. After the show at 4 p.m., it is Angels Wear Boots. Jess, Amanda,
Lauren,
Sarah, and Lauren will be joining us for that show. This Wednesday, join Vince and World Cup and Mexican international Mario
He
Trujillo.
wishes he was a World Cup.
My bad.
It's awesome you guys are doing that.
For the Mexican national team World Cup kit launch party here at XRM Studios. That's Wednesday, live at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then on Saturday, another official LAFC watch party at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on LAFC and 110 Football's YouTube channel.
Tacos. You're going to miss out on all those tacos. I am so excited.
Guys,
to eat tacos.
hats off to all you guys. Look at this.
Actually, I prefer to
shows.
keep the hat on.
Also,
No?
you know, chat, you guys were all in the chat. I love you guys. You're always so rowdy. Jess has become like a fan favorite, right? And I do have some bittersweet news. This will be Jess's last day with us here at 110 Football. And in that, we have a little sizzle for you to show you guys.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah. Check it out.
I want to introduce my co-host for this week. You may have seen her with me on the 110 Football and LAFC pre and post shows. She's a rising star in the soccer media landscape. Oh, and she happens to know that Los Angeles is black and gold, of course. Please welcome Jessica Black to the show.
That hat. Can we do something about it?
Yes, ma'am.
Feeling very luxurious today. Y'all want hot takes? I'm here. Bella's back, but is he back?
What you missed? You missed the Segura.
Segura!
I didn't miss anything because you just nailed it.
Confidence goes up by the stairs and goes down by the elevators. Like, it's so much quicker to lose that confidence. I don't talk about the referee. I don't want to know their name. But every week I'm looking up the name and I'm like, okay, Katia Koroleva, you were crap.
I like where you're going with this. You know, we should give you a segment.
Maybe.
I'm all about quiet confidence here.
Oh! Let's go!
Connor keeps saying it, and he's right. Finish your chances.
That is the definition of instant impact.
Oh, trust me, it's definitely a tradition around here for you to get humiliated by the guest hosts and players to watch.
We're super dominant. We're such a good team. I'm so excited.
Thank you again, Jessica, for putting up with me.
No, thank you for not wearing that silly hat.
I love that.
Yes.
Be virtue, you're absolutely right.
Yes, everyone in the chat is getting in there and they're going to talk about how much they miss you. I don't think any of us want to take this honor from you. Do you want to share what is next for you?
Yeah, I'll be taking some time and working in London. I got a job there, so I'll be doing that. And so I'll be doing some presenting work for a company out there called Give Me Sport. And yeah, I'll be closer to Arsenal, which is the team that I cover most often. And so to give me an opportunity to really advance my career and things like that. But as I've already told like Jason and Vince knows this, that before I started at 110, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I knew I wanted to talk about soccer, but I just didn't think that there was a career out there for me. And I was able to hone my skills in a very professional yet loving and relaxed environment. Like, I do feel like you guys have been so good to me, and so yeah, this has been the jumping off point of a career that I think is going to be really good. So I owe 110 so much, and you guys know I love being here, and it's a bittersweet feeling, but I know you guys are going upwards as well. You guys are doing so well too. So yeah.
We'll always have the equity of you being on the show, and when you're doing great things in this business, we could say we share the stage with her. That's very special for all of us.
You know, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Max and I, we're past our prime. We're not going to Europe. Connor's too young. He's not ready yet. Of course, Jessica's going to be the first one to make the jump from our show to Europe. So we are a springboard to Europe. There you go.
The chat will miss you dearly, as will the entire panel and everyone here at 110 Football. But for you
can break
guys
that hat back
watching-
again now too. So
Yeah, that's coming back, baby.
For you guys watching, at 4 p.m., we have Angels Wear Boots. So you can watch Jess back in action one last time on 4 p.m. At 4 p.m.
At 4 p.m.
Yes.
Thank you, Jess. We love you. Thank you, chat. And yeah, we'll be back here next week.
I'm not. If Jess isn't here, I'm out.
Yeah, we're not coming to work if Jess.
No. We'll be back. But hey, hopefully I'll see you guys on Wednesday for that World Cup Mexico kit launch. It's gonna be a lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff going on with me and Mariano. So check it out.
Hashtag thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Jess.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Hi, my name is Ilya Sanchez. Follow 110 Football.